there, Sandeep Mohapatra. Welcome.
Thank you, Messi.
So how is Absa Bank Mauritius approaching digital transformation and what are the key priorities in this journey?
Thank you, Radio Plus. Thanks, Melanie. And bonsoir. I'll be speaking in English. Apologies for this. At ABSA, at the heart of everything we do, there is this simple yet very profound thought to say, how do we make your story matter? How do we make your story matter? How do we make our colleagues' story matter? How do we make the community story matter? And transformation or digital transformation, everyone pointed out it's a mindset, but more importantly, I think it's not a technology narrative alone. It's not a narrative that is about infrastructure, application alone. It's a story about making customers' life better, making businesses scalable, right? So with that mindset, when we look at our transformation journey in ABSA, we divide our transformation journey into 3 horizons, as we call it. So the first horizon is where we get our bread and butter from and where our customers today experience us, which is what we call the enhanced horizon. Basically, this is about a horizon where existing products to existing customers, what can we do there? And when we look at that horizon from a digital transformation perspective, we find 3 key strategic imperatives. The first one is an outside-in approach. How do we make our customers' life easy, super convenient? How can they self-service themselves, staying at home, staying anywhere where they want, and access banking services 24/7? And that includes us being the first bank to have thought about customers onboarding 100% digitally. The customer shouldn't have to travel to a branch, shouldn't have to sign a bunch of papers, shouldn't have to upload a bunch of documents or take photocopies thereof. And we've used technology, including artificial intelligence, to see how we can make onboarding super simple for our new customers. And against, again, all beliefs to say, well, people might not adopt it culturally, we've seen evidence to the reverse, actually. A lot of people have welcomed that change and have onboarded us. Then how do we make banking easier for them, right? When they onboard us, how can we take their everyday banking concerns without really visiting a branch, signing a bunch of papers? So this journey is all about self-service, whether it is onboarding, whether it is through our digital channels, including mobile app, whether it is at a phygital channel like an ATM, or whether it is at an alternate channel like our contact center. How can we support our customers? The second one is how do we support our colleagues? Because there is a lot of processes at the back end which affects our colleagues and in a way affects sometimes their work-life harmony. People staying late shouldn't be a healthy work culture, right? So how do we take automation and give it to the power of our colleagues to do their jobs much faster? Take the robot out of the human is what I say. Take mundane things out of a human. They're supposed to do more, right? So how can we take this burden out of our colleagues and make their lives easier, but also to empower them with low-code, no-code tools, wherein every employee can be part of the digitalization journey, not just benefit it, but be a manufacturer of it. Our third imperative in that enhanced horizon is about how do we make banking technology leaner. We have existed in the island for more than a century. And obviously we carry applications and technology that are centuries old, and it requires significant uplift, both from a cloud-first approach. So we've created a very modern cloud at one of the world's largest hyperscalers. How do we go from licensed products to open source, make our technologies much more efficient, and how do we tap into emerging tech? And we were talking about AI a bit earlier to say how can we interlace AI and emerging tech into everything that we do. Our second big transformation pillar is about what we call the extend horizon, which is about how can we take existing banking products and services and make it super simple, super convenient, and digital only. And here we're talking about a DG suite of products. We've since launched our DG account. We've done DG loans now, which allows a customer to not just onboard digitally, but apply for a loan and get a provisional certificate in minutes. And again, thanks to the regulatory environment, I know 𝒕𝒐𝒈𝒆𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒓 has just come in, thanks to Bank of Mauritius and Information Technology Office Minister and the environment here, we are seeing progressive steps in that journey to make it easier. So the whole idea about the Extend initiative is to say, let customer banking be pure play online. How can we facilitate that? Our third and most bold yet exciting transformation story is about the Explore Horizon. Here we are talking about new products to new customers. And we're looking at banking adjacencies. And when you look at the world around, payments is one area, open banking is one area which has seen significant disruption. I know both MTEL as well as my colleagues here already are looking very strongly in that direction, and APSA is also looking very strongly in that direction. And as first foray into open banking, we are very proud, we've introduced something called Spark Business, which I can talk later, which empowers businesses to collect omni-channel payments straight from a smartphone, whether it is cards, whether it is QR, whether it is remote payments, manage reconciliations straight out of a phone. So you don't really, so basically transformation, like we said, a large part of it is mindset, but I think it should be centered around a real customer need. And how do we make that life easier? How do we make it matter?
Making people's lives better, facilite la vie du monde. Artificielle. Sandeep Mohapatra, does APSA make use of AI in its operation?
Well, we do, and we were the first bank actually to have forayed into this, not now, but almost 6 years ago, with the launch of a humanoid-powered banker. But I don't necessarily think we approach to say, okay, we have to deliver AI, and therefore what do we do? So we don't go with a technology-first mindset. Our mindset has always been to say a customer first, community first, colleague first. Can business make commercial viability out of this? And finally, how will technology orchestrate itself to solve that problem, right? So to give you a real life example, when 3 years back, the 𝒕𝒐𝒈𝒆𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒓 has just been introduced, it never existed. And APSA wanted to launch a bank account that is free so that it serves financial inclusion. It has zero balance. It has no maintenance charges. It can be done digitally, 100% sitting at home. So when we came up with this idea, a lot of people said, oh, well, it can't be done in Mauritius, right? Obviously. And we said, why not? And they said, but you need to verify a person. And we said, okay. When I look at my driving license, which was taken probably 30 years back, I can't identify myself in that picture anymore, right? But an AI can, right? So it can take your Face ID and it can match with you, and it can say whether you are a deep fake or a real human. Are you sitting live in front of the camera? So it is more accurate at a lightning fast precision than what a human can. So then why can't we use technology to our advantage? Then comes the question to say, but the documents can be defrauded, right? Or something can be done. And we said, okay, how do we take computer vision and scan through the document to know whether it is a valid document, whether it is a document that will be acceptable as per law, and how do we then put that technology to our use? Today, when the world was hit with COVID, right, and we said, when a customer joins me, right, and if he's not able to access a branch or a physical touch point or doesn't want to touch an ATM, how can he still make contactless withdrawals? Using a scan where he doesn't touch, he just feeds into his mobile app without touching his card, and the money comes out. We thought a customer opens a bank account not for the sake of I have a premier savings account, but for the sake of a life goal. People have real needs. They want to educate their child. They want to go on a vacation. And people save for those goals. But a banking app looks like a very transactional app to say, okay, do a transaction, make a payment. We said, no. How can somebody save systematically for his life goal? And how can we uplift our community to say, you become a savings-oriented community? And we introduced that. We are also very proud to have introduced many firsts, right? Including the phone tap and pay solution, which was again a first in Mauritius. And again, all of that tech, all of that comes from that mindset to say, how can banking be made easier? How can it be made accessible? How can it be made sustainable? So today, again, on DG account, we've been globally awarded against all odds to have done account onboarding digitally. We have been awarded 4 times in a row now as the best digital bank, and we're slightly proud of that. But also, we have solved business challenges. So when we went to businesses, they said banking is painful. You ask us 20 set of documents. So when we go back and ask our compliance teams to say, why do you do that? Well, look at the regulations, right? So we said, and to Krish's point, right? When you have got CBRD, which is your corporate registration business department, which has got all that information in its golden source, why would you ask a business to say, give me your BRN, give me your trade license, give me 20 other documents, which they have already produced in some place or another? And we said, okay, let's approach CBRD and see what can be done. And again, very proud that we are the first bank to have integrated with CBRD to collect just on a BRN all information fetched from the golden source, shown to the customer, minimizing data entry, minimizing document upload. And today we ask a very limited set of documents and we allow to onboard digitally. And this is the power that regulator or operators can bring to play, right? The regulator, as they say, can keep upgrading the bridge. We can bring more traffic to that bridge. And as a result, we can be a much bigger, digitally powered society, which is convenient, but not just convenient, which brings real value. Because when businesses can decrease their cost of compliance, their cost of onboarding, their cost of running operations through digital methods, some of those costs will be passed on to the end customer. So it makes their financial journeys much cheaper, but it also makes society more sustainable. People don't need to carry a bunch of papers, don't need to travel to branches. Branches don't need to put their electricity on, their fan on, which are basically carbon centers. And as a result, this helps us uplift the society, uplift financial inclusion. And I think this is how at APSA we think about technology. Emerging tech is just happens to be a tool, a conduit to solve some of those problems better. And that's how we look at technology actually.
And what about customers who are less connected?
Great question, right? So, and I get asked this a lot as a digital transformation guy to say, Sandeep, you're doing all sophisticated AI stuff. And I tell them, you use AI 1,000 times a day. You just don't know, right? You open your phone every time, you use AI. You take a picture every time it enhances itself, you use AI. You go on ChatGPT doing your research or replying to your boss, you're doing AI. You go on Google Photos and search something, you're doing AI. So as technology gets more and more sophisticated, as compute power gets more and more intense, the customers' lives will become more and more easy to access technology, right? So my fundamental belief is people like, I think there was a nice statement to say, who taught Facebook to people? Where was the tutorial? Where was the kiosk? Where was the education center?
Grandchildren.
Right, exactly, right? Grandchildren, but more importantly, for grandchildren, it was intuitive. Because technology, as it progresses, becomes by its very nature more intuitive, more inclusive, more easy to use, and fundamentally brings convenience at your fingertips, literally. So my belief is technology, as it progresses, will get more inclusive. But having said that, we know there will be a segment of people always who would need a human touch. And we are not saying technology is versus human touch. I think technology needs to complement human touch. Like I said, take the robot out of the human. Let the human not print reports and stamp. That's not what humans are supposed to do, right? They're supposed to add value in the process. You want to give your warmth. You want to talk to clients that make sense. Give them real good advice. And therefore, we have our own suite of banking products, which is relationship managed. To say, okay, you want a relationship manager. Of course, there's a cost to that. But then you can do human-based banking. But more importantly, for your day-to-day transactions, you shouldn't suffer, right? Let technology come to your aid and help you solve that.
Alors, est-ce qu'il aime-t-elle Maurice Sandeep Mohapatra? So how do you evaluate the risk and opportunities associated with AI in a regulated environment like banking?
Yeah, I think I was following and great answers, right? Because in banking, the only true currency is trust. That's the business we are in. So banking in general relies on customer trust. At 𝒕𝒐𝒈𝒆𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒓, we've been here for more than a century. We've been loved. We've been trusted. So we hold that trust very, very dearly. First of all, we take it with utmost seriousness. And we have zero tolerance policy on trust. So now, how are we doing or protecting ourselves? So from a regulatory perspective, and I think the Honorable Minister pointed to the fact to say, first, what should you do is align yourself to what the regulation says and do beyond if possible. So we are, again, very proud to say we are the first and the only organization probably which got DPO certified, Data Protection Office certified. We went ahead and we went with POPIA, which is the South African Act on Data Protection, and we got ourselves certified. We are fully GDPR compliant. So that was one thing done. Then we went to global security certifications and we got ourselves ISO 2701001 certified as well, and this was in 2024. In 2022, we became DPO certified. The third thing we are doing is right now, for every application that we build, we are designing with security in mind. What does that mean? It goes through a very rigorous process of what we call architecture design approval process. So we have built it on a cloud hyperscaler. We've built our own private cloud with very secure rules and rule book in which you can do this. And it goes through a very rigorous process of architecture approval, of cloud approvals, but importantly of third-party hackers. So we deploy third-party hackers, what we call VAPT tests, which is vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. And we deploy those professional hackers to hack us and to let us know to say, can you bypass any customer data? Could you extract anything of value? And if so, they mark them, as the Honorable Minister was saying, in terms of critical, high, medium, low, informational. If anything hits a critical or a high or a medium risk, you simply not allowed to go through with that solution. You have to solve it before you can actually take it. Another layer of defense that we have is our new product approval process, wherein every department is given an opportunity to look at it from all angles and to say, did it adhere to the law? Did it adhere to the spirit? Did it protect the customer's data and interest at its very core? And if the answer to that question is no, you will not get a go to go live, right? So this is a rigor that we follow. We also follow 3 lines of defense principle. So every function has a 3-line defense, what we call the business line. The second line is what we call the control and governance line. And the third line is the internal audit line. And then there is external audit. Then there is a reg audit, regulatory audit, right? So this makes our environment slightly more secure, more better. We also deploy what we say proactive measures. So we have at our 𝒕𝒐𝒈𝒆𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒓 group level, which is a group which has got banking presence in 16 countries. We have a very sophisticated security operations center that runs 24/7. And again, it deploys AI. And it deploys AI to proactively monitor, but also detect and also mitigate some of the risks. One final point I would want to say is it needs to be also, from a Mauritius perspective, a collaborative effort. So for example, we see banks being attacked by those scam messages, right? To say, MRA wants to refund you money, click here to do it. What we do when we do this, we figure out what is the root cause or the root IPs of some of these people. Who's the perpetrator? We find a pattern and we try and block it even before that link can be sent. We also collaborate with operators like Mighty, like MTEL, and we request them to say, this is an anomalous pattern. Can you already block it at the source? But as we go in time, we will start to see some of these attacks start to go at a much higher level. Because we are right now not just talking about AI, but we are talking about quantum computing. Now, what quantum computing does is, it takes your computing level and multiplies it by multiples of thousands, right? So your security protocols today are not quantum safe. It is safe for today's world. But when quantum computing comes, powered with AI, it will be able to brute force attack on most of your current cryptographic encryption standards. And therefore, banks and all institutions alike need to step up to become quantum safe. We will need to also step up to some of the realities of the possibility. How do we react when there is one? Are we airbagged, or will the perpetrator have all our data as ransom, right? So, and these are measures we put in policy as a matter of not good to have, but must have as we design solutions now. So, but it's an ever-evolving world, Melanie, and as much as it is exciting and it brings with opportunity, it can also be scary, and you need to protect yourself. I heard you talk about deepfake, and just one last point I want to make. So when we had our AI-powered solutions, we saw there is the possibility of deepfakes. So we upgraded our systems to figure out deepfakes, 3D masks, AI-generated video, etc. But what we can't do as banks or as an individual operator is to say, I don't know what is the data on the golden source, but what if you generated an AI-based NIC pixel by pixel? And this is where we need to go to and look up to regulators, to the jurisdiction, to say, give us a golden source to check it against. And I think that collaboration together with all operators can make Mauritius a much safer, cyber-safe place.
Merci beaucoup, Sandeep Mohapatra. ABSA's participation in DITEX.
Yes, so I think first thing is we want to say how technology can make banking easier for you, be it opening of an individual account, of a business account, or of a loan. You no longer need to queue up, get a stack of paper, and technology can come and help you. But I think what I'm most excited about is Spark Business. And why do I say this, right? So I say this because when we conceived Spark, right, we saw payment methods and we saw them, okay, they're very siloed, they're very scattered. So we see a card machine, it can take only card transactions, but nobody's really thought of the business to say, what is the business dealing with, right? So when we spoke, before even conceiving anything, we went and spoke to businesses of all size. And to our discovery, or to our shock sometimes, we got horror stories, right? To say reconciliation is a massive headache. I can't see payments across siloed payment systems. So QR settles real time, card settles next day. I can't collect remote payments. It's a pain, it's expensive, it's not interoperable. So we stepped back and we said, okay, we shouldn't design a solution because it's out there. We should design a solution to help our businesses really grow and make use of this. So why it makes us very proud is we've done something which has not been attempted before. We've brought the power of a phone in the hands of our businesses to tell them, you don't need reconciliation, you can onboard digitally, you can collect all forms of payment straight from a phone. It can act as your POS, point of sale device for a card. It can act as your QR. It can help you collect remote payments and more. So that is what I'm most excited about personally, to showcase this to the world.
Thank you so much. Voilà, nous sommes arrivés à la fin de cette émission. Merci au film avec nous pendant ces 2 heures. Merci et bonne